Okay, we do it live.
Are we live though?
We're live. We're
Okay.
always live. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the fifth annual Miyazaki Shits.
You sure?
Nope. It sounds good. It's probably 4 or 5. It's in that range.
Pretty sure it's
It's close enough.
pretty sure it's the third one.
No, it can't be the third.
You sure?
No. All right, welcome back to the annual Miyazaki. Okay. Here we cover what surprisingly wasn't as boring as I remember movie. But I remember, or at least I can see now why I thought that. Because this movie wasn't very movie esque. It didn't feel
The
like,
movie doesn't movie.
yeah, it didn't feel like what you expect from a movie, right? Like movies are supposed to be like, here's a 3 act structure and here's this and here's important things and all this shit. It was just people moving into a house. Like I
I mean,
imagine
you
if
can
you,
say that about about horror movies too. It's just people moving to a house.
but that's different. There's a monster. There's action. People are dying. I mean, I guess technically she got lost for a little bit,
Yeah.
but
The mom got sick. Like, come on,
she
man.
didn't get sick.
I mean, she got worse.
She was sitting in the bed chilling, talking about, yeah, I don't know why the doctor was so upset. It's just barely a cold. I'm fine.
No, but she's like, she probably has some other illness. I don't remember if they mentioned it. Did they mention it in the
No, they
movie?
just said she's sick. They don't really give you what it is or why she's at the hospital looking
Hate
really
Japan.
healthy.
It is all the time. We don't feel like telling you what she's sick of. She's in the hospital.
Right? She's sick of them damn kids. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's very little movie things or like story action things or like, whatever. It felt very plain, but I liked it. And I was wondering how he gets away with it. Because I was like just enjoying it. I was like, man, this is a story about nothing. But it's great. Because I've always wondered if you could do that. Because like that's the kind of storytelling I've always kind of dreamed of in a way. That I was like, man, is it possible to write a story and like show the mundane things, show the boring things, show the shit that like all movies cut out? And I was like, well, I don't know, probably not without it being, boring or not very entertaining. And then I watched this and I'm like, man, this is good. It's just a story about nothing. I mean, I guess they met Totoro. That's something.
Yeah, they met Totoro. They found the other spirit animal, the cat bus.
Cat bus is fucking gross.
Yeah, they get inside the cat bus. That's kind of gross. Um,
But yeah, I don't know. It was really good though. It was whimsical.
the,
That was
what are
the
they
soot
called? The dust
gremlins.
puffs. The little dust puffs.
Yeah, the soot gremlin. That shit was funny.
Yeah,
I said it was in like the intro thing, and I was
yeah.
like, oh look, it's a little soot monster from Spirited Away. Then they showed up in the movie. I said, oh. And then he has like the dad has a name for him. I said, they're real. It's crazy. I did notice every single one of his movies has a grandma.
Oh yeah, every single movie has a grandma. Every single one of them.
Man, he loves grandmas. Maybe he has to like teach people to respect their elders. I don't know.
Uh, Maybe he thought maybe he has a very cool grandma he likes.
Maybe she was just super awesome, so he put her in all of his works.
Yeah.
It's not impossible, but yeah, no,
Call me grandma.
it's.
Lady wasn't even their grandma.
I love it. She's so friendly, good neighbor.
She's trying to kidnap them kids.
I was thinking about something like that too, though, where he was like, he just let them go out and play, and they would just pretty much go do whatever the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
And I wondered about like, old was it 2 generations ago in America? That was always the case. Of like, hey, go outside
Yeah.
and play.
Not even that long ago. I said our generation.
It was, I guess, it was dying by the time, like, because I think I
Yeah.
remember there were certain like houses we lived at that it was okay, but if it was
Yeah.
more like city, it was less and less okay.
True.
And I'm wondering what effect I guess technology has on letting kids go outside to play, or if there is one, or maybe it's just how we've changed. Because Corey lived in Japan for a while when he was stationed there.
Yeah.
And he said little kids do whatever. Little like 5-year-old kids are just walking to school multiple blocks or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's even with all the technological advancements and whatever, it's
That's why I don't think it's
normal.
technology. I think it's just a cultural thing.
Right. Well, I wonder what changed then about our culture that we don't do that.
There's a lot of people that kidnap kids.
Huh. I guess that makes
I
sense.
think it didn't start till about the 50s. So with that kidnapped those and essayed a bunch of kids. Um,
And was it like an epidemic or something, or just a couple of cases, or
it was one clown guy. But then that led to a bunch of copycats who were like, "That's a good idea. Why didn't I think of that? Be a clown, no one will suspect you." Uh,
damn,
and yeah,
change society forever, huh?
right.
That's
That's
tough.
what I think. I don't know.
I mean, it's
But
possible it had an effect at least, right? With the media too has a big effect on things. That's
yeah.
something I'd be interested to see what their news channels are like over there. Because our news channels, I essentially want to blame them for, I'd say, a good 90% of the reason that kids can't be kids anymore. Like, the news channel gets parents terrified of, like, Halloween, terrified of letting their kids go out, terrified of letting them go to the movies, just terrified of everything. Because every single day it's someone got shot in a movie theater, somebody injected kids with drugs in their candy from fucking whatever. It's like, this is crazy talk, dude. And then some of it you look into the actual data and there's nothing to support it. Like there's no
Mhm.
actual like convictions or evidence or proof that like kids got fucked up from candy on Halloween, or if someone did get shot at a movie theater, it was like the one time in the last 30 years in a fucking state 3, 4, 5 states away. But it works. It makes people super scared of everything. And I wonder if their
Yeah.
news outlets are the same, or if their like crime rate is just that low that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think Japan's crime rate is extremely low, so
That's what
that
I've
makes
heard.
sense.
So I have to imagine that that's a nice thing. I guess we're too big to do that, but I wonder what causes it, right? Like what would cause crime rate to go up in a certain country or down?
There's a lot of factors, but I know for one thing, no one's gonna like me saying is they don't allow foreigners for the most part
Right.
in or to live there. Um,
Same thing with
that
Australia, and I
they're
heard that's a pretty
super
peaceful
strict about.
place.
Yeah, they're super strict about. Yeah, Australia's crime rate. It's not as bad as us, but it's way higher than Japan's. I'm
Is it?
pretty sure. Yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
'cause they speak English.
That's true. Maybe that's the common factor.
Mhm.
Once your country starts speaking English, it's over.
Australia crime rate versus U.S. Why are we looking about this? We're talking about Totoro.
This is part of the conversation. It's part of the culture.
Uh, our crime rate is 4 times higher than Australia, and murders per million people 13 times higher more 13 times more than Australia in uh sexual assault.
Hmm.
Uh,
You ever wonder if it stems from that freedom culture?
Probably.
It's a
It
weird
it
thing, man.
probably does, honestly. Like the more freedom you have in a country, the less strict people are on others, and that just leads to parents um giving their kids more freedom, trusting them to not do dumb shit, and then they end up doing dumb shit, and then they end up into D bags, and then they commit crime. So
Right. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? Also, the whole thing too, like you said about like culturalistic things, it's so blended. Like, there's just so many different fucking people here
right,
that like you're gonna have, for example, like violent crime is probably gonna be a lot higher because there's a lot of people who you just may not like because they're different than you.
right.
It's like, oh yeah, they whatever they act this way, or they're not country folk, they're this kind of folk, and we hate them or whatever.
I think I read a while back that it was going up. Yeah. There was a 29.8 increase in crime the past year in Japan.
Huh. I wonder what changed.
Yeah, there's a graph. It was actually on the decline until about 2020, and then after COVID, it went. Well, it wasn't after COVID because COVID hit 2019, so it was still going down till 2020. and then it's still slightly going down in 2021, and then it started to go slightly higher in 2022, and then it spiked in 23.
I wonder if they're like stir crazy,
Maybe.
like too much time in isolation, just people started to fucking lose it.
Maybe.
Who knows? I also like I would imagine too a lot of their like old fashioned beliefs. At least I've heard that a lot of them are like slowly dying.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like a lot of the stuff that used to keep children in check or like how you were raised or whatever, the kind of respect for other people or the law or whatever it is that you learned may be less strict, which could lead to an increase in crime. Because that's usually where it comes from. Like when you're raised as a kid, your parents kind
Yeah.
of teach you right from wrong or whatever. Your siblings and coworkers and all the people around you also support it.
Hmm.
So it's definitely like where do you find an environment for that? But if a lot of the younger kids don't really give a shit about what their parents say, or they're spending a lot more time online or learning a new, way to act socially, you're gonna have more people socially who are gonna be more accepting of, negative behavior. But anyway, short story long, I did wonder if like because we had in the history, we kids could do whatever, fucking go down to the store. Who cares? Little 5-year-old Sally
Right.
run down to the convenience store like fucking half mile away. Didn't matter. But nowadays it seems like in more populated areas, like city type areas,
Hmm.
there's just less and less and less, freedom for kids to do stuff. It seems more common in rural areas, and that's why I didn't know if it was a technological thing. But I think it's a what do you call it?
The population density thing. It's not a technological thing.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Is I think that you notice crime rates are much higher in cities, for example.
Yeah.
So it's like the chances of something happening are much higher in those places versus
Hmm.
like a home country house or whatever. You're gonna be out there and what do you call it? You may even be friends or family with fucking half your neighbors.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes some sense. But let's see. We just take it from the top. I don't have much to say about this one. Let's see. The intro reminded me of something like Barney. I thought that was funny. I was like, I don't remember
I
this
thought
little.
it was kind of like a Disney show or a
Also,
Disney movie. Yeah.
it seemed too kid-like with me. I guess with all the animations and just the way it sounded, found it very like "Let's go have fun, la la," and I
Hmm.
was like, huh. I don't know what the words were, but that was kind of what came to mind.
Mm.
Not important, but I guess it kind of set the tone for me of like, oh, is this a kids movie? Like specifically for kids. I think some of his other works were designed for everybody, but I wondered if
I
this
don't think
one,
4 Kids dubbed it.
huh,
He said 4 kids, so I don't think 4 kids dubbed it.
bro, keep them away from this shit. Don't let 4 kids near anything ever again. I think they went under, didn't they?
Yeah.
Makes sense. They were
They
ruining
sold
all the
One Piece
media.
to the licensing rights to One Piece to or they gave them up. They sold them back to Japan or whatever, however that works. And then Funimation bought them, and that's how Funimation started dubbing it.
Oh, it's good. Good deal. Let's see.
Hey,
Again,
I don't want Funimation to have the dubbing rights to Yu-Gi-Oh and they redub Yu-Gi-Oh because that shit's it's perfect.
no.
And that was 4 kids.
The 4 kids one is like stupid sometimes.
What
Like
are you talking about? It's perfect.
I don't know. Some of the stuff is funny, like it's just comical, how over the top and shit it is. But some of it is kind of bad, like the stuff they change and the stuff they remove, and I don't know.
I
Keep
wonder if Kaiba
both.
actually says you're a fourth-rate duelist with a third-rate deck in the original.
I don't know. I'd say just make another one, right? Just go ahead and redo it. Let us get all the parts where like Yugi's just fucking killing people. And let's see where Pegasus dies. Spoilers.
Well, I mean, even in Japan, the original part of the series didn't pop off. It wasn't until the card game part that they actually did get proper anime.
Huh. Maybe it's just lost to manga forever. We'll never see it in animation.
We might. It's fine.
Make it like an OVA or something.
Yeah.
Um.
They
Yeah.
also made Kaiba's hair green when they first tried to animate the series.
Oh no.
He looks much better with the gray with the brown hair.
Oh yeah, dude. Because it keeps him look like stupid, shitty business kid. It seems a lot more indicative, other than like a fantasy character.
Speaking of which, I gotta get a custom uh suitcase made for all my commander decks.
To stop. Just get the briefcase out, throw it on the table. That shit's funny. You gotta get the coat though. It doesn't work unless you have a nice trench coat.
Oh, I gotta get a white. I gotta get a fucking Kaiba coat. Hold on.
That's really what puts it all together. But the artwork in this shit is fucking beautiful as always. Um, I wondered if they were gonna play because the beginning was really setting up the personality for the two girls,
Yeah.
and I didn't know if they were gonna play on that a lot. It didn't seem like they did, because from the very beginning I was like, Jesus Christ, these girls are unhinged as fuck, just like shaking the rafter, like about to literally get themselves killed, breaking the front porch, running in circles and shit. I said, oh my god. But the older one was always smart. It seemed like she knew right from wrong. Like, oh yeah, don't do this, do this. She hid from the police officer. I guess I don't know if they were breaking some law about transporting kids without a seatbelt or whatever it was. But whatever it was, she knew to avoid that. And then she was like walking through the house on her knees. So she seemed very respectful for the rules to be so unhinged. I was like, huh. I don't know. Maybe this comes into play later. It didn't. Because I don't think there really was a lot of their character that mattered. That's why this movie feels, I don't know, like nothing happened. It's still good, but it was interesting that like throughout the movie it was just, hey, they're doing stuff, they're going to school, mom's sick, they met a cool cat monster, and then she got lost and they found her. That was about it. Like a lot, I don't think you really needed any character specific moments, or like, how do you say it? There wasn't any specific moments that kind of required character, to shine through, I guess, to make it
Also,
meaningful.
this type of movie isn't really my cup of tea. Uh, I think he definitely was just making this movie to flex on their animation and look show off like what they can do in animation rather than make some kind of crazy story. Still liked it,
Right.
but
Yeah, no, I can agree. Like, at least I don't know. It's looked just as pretty as the other stuff, but I don't know. Maybe it was more pretty because I definitely was kind of blown away in like the opening shots. But it was, I don't know, a cool take on a movie. But it was not a movie. I don't know how to. I've said this like 3 times. I don't know how to put it into words because it sounds bad. If you say, "Well, this movie was empty," then people would think that's a bad thing.
it's not empty. It's just it's a nice movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was just a nice. How can I put it this way? It's like going to the beach, and some people you can go to the beach and build a castle and
It's
play
kind of
volleyball.
artsy fartsy. The movie's a little too artsy fartsy.
Weird. You're the artsy fartsy guy.
Yeah, but it's too artsy fartsy. You have to derive meaning from all of the subtlety in it rather than it, like, uh,
Right.
the narrative actually, giving you anything.
There was no metaphors. I want my metaphors.
Oh, there's metaphors. There's plenty of metaphors inside some of the dialogue, but it's super subtle, and it's a too subtle for my taste.
Dang. I didn't think we'd
It's like a
find
French movie. There you go. It's Miyazaki's French movie.
that. I don't
Uh,
know much about French film.
oh, nothing happens.
That's funny.
Nothing ever happens in a French movie.
See, I gotta start watching some French film then, because I kind of want to watch stuff like that. Just to like, as long as the characters are good, I just want to watch characters do stuff.
Like characters end exactly where they started. Like it's like there's no character arc.
See, I'm okay with that as long as like I like them.
Yeah.
Because for example, I liked watching those two just run around and do stuff. Because it was just adorable. Like the little one especially, her little stupid voice lines and everything she would say was just funny. So like,
I don't know. The English voice actress for the little girl annoyed the shit out of me.
really?
Yeah.
I thought she was great. I mean, a little annoying, but that was the whole point. She's like an annoying little kid, but that's
Oh
what
yeah,
makes
she's
her
an annoying
adorable.
little kid. So yeah, it makes sense.
I loved it. But yeah, it's like I could just, I don't know. I guess you do have to get somewhere. But when I think about a lot of the movies, like these similar style esque movies, a lot of my favorite parts are them just doing a bunch of nothing. Um, like I'm trying to think about what was that one? Like for like the first half of Your Name,
Yeah.
nothing really happened. I mean, you obviously you got the stuff that was going on. I don't want to spoil too much. That's like too good to spoil, even by accident.
Right.
But like there wasn't a lot going on. It was just yeah, they're getting ready, going to school, doing stuff, going to work. But I liked the characters, and it was like just cool to watch people do stuff. And I was wondering, like, if this is sort of a thing that we don't get very often, because I don't watch reality TV, right? I just don't like that
Hmm.
shit. It's all fake. It's just a bunch of dumb
I can't
shit.
watch reality TV. I don't like it.
Right. But I wonder if there's an element of like that's what people are getting from those shows because they don't understand that like 90% of it's fake and way too dramatized for TV and just not very good. But they kind of want to watch people do stuff, and that's what keeps like, you know, how do you say, like, a connection to them, to like regular
Hmm.
people. And I wonder if that's what I'm getting that I don't normally get from media, is like just watching them do stuff around the house is like, man, cool family stuff. And I don't really do that stuff anyway, right? So I don't have a wife or kids. So I wonder if like seeing that stuff is just kind of nice. It's like a relaxing, you know, reminder of like family and people doing stuff.
Hmm.
Because most movies cut all that shit out. It's just, plot, 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 movement, movement, boom, boom, boom. And it's kind of like what we talked about One Piece before, years ago or whatever. I mentioned that like the best part of One Piece is them like sitting on the ship, just like goofing
Hmm.
off or catching fish or talking shit to each other or whatever.
Hmm.
Because those bits to me are the parts that really personify the characters. It's like, man, they're a bunch of cool friends just on a ship going on an adventure. It's cool, but when they get to like an island, it's usually, battles and plot and shit's happening. So you don't get a lot of the fun moments. It's almost like slice of life, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
But see, even slice of life oftentimes falls into the storytelling trap where it's just nothing but drama, right? Every other chapter, if you're reading, or every other scene is, oh no, someone blah blah did something, or they broke up with somebody, or oh no, someone was cheating on somebody. There's always something, action packed happening. I think about even like what's this, soap operas. Even when you watch
Yeah.
like someone doing the dishes in the morning, it's always the lighting, and they're doing the dishes just as the husband walks in. I knew where you were last night, and it's like just they always have to drama fill every scene. It's like sometimes I don't know. Maybe it's nice just to watch like a happy couple do the dishes and talk to each other
Right.
and send the kids off to school and just I don't know, relax. It's weird though, because you would think that's not entertaining, but I think it's like it scratches a certain itch that we don't get much in media,
Mm.
which
I
is
get that. I
essentially
see that.
what
Yeah.
this movie was, right? Like at least how I would see it. It had the fantastical shit with the forest and all the little spirits, but overall, that was a lot of what
Well,
this
I
movie
think that
was.
it was it the spirits and shit. That was all in their head. I'm pretty sure, right?
No, I don't think so, right? Because they talked about it. They said, "Oh, you seen the soot spirits?"
Yeah.
And then like so the grandma knew about it, and then she even came back and like had soot on her hands from clapping that one.
Oh yeah. Mm.
Also, whenever Totoro would run by, or the cat bus ran by, they were on the bus, and the wind would blow the people around.
I feel like there was a point where those like the spirits were like were around everyday people and they just weren't acknowledging them.
Could
Uh,
you imagine? They've just seen it so many times they don't even look over. Oh, that's just the cat bus.
right.
That'd be funny. I mean, it's not impossible, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of the cool part. If you don't tell people enough, anything is possible.
Or maybe only children can see them because the grandma I think said that she doesn't see them anymore or something like that.
She did say
Uh,
that, yeah. So like apparently at one point they can do that,
yeah.
or she's, and then they said before the spirits can only be seen if they want to be seen,
Oh yeah, they did say that. Okay.
and they probably don't want to be seen by adults because adults suck.
True.
One thing I thought about too, this movie like thought provokingly made me wonder about is not really wonder about. I already know it to be a fact, but it just kind of reminded me of that. Is when they were super excited about planting those trees and like when they sprouted the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I wish I could do that again. Like, I wish I could just give a shit the way that I did when I was a kid.
Right.
There's something awesome about that, dude. And I wonder if that's why, like, as someone who doesn't have kids, I wonder if that's what people say, like, you live through your kids after you have
But
them because your
yeah,
life is over.
vicariously through them. Yeah.
Because it's like, you
When
can't
they're
do that
happy, you're
anymore.
happy. Their excitement gives you excitement. Like yeah.
Right, because we can't do it anymore. Like, I guess we've already seen it. Like, if I go plant, a flower in the backyard and then I see it, come up from the ground, I'll be like, oh, cool, it works. But they were overjoyed. You know what I mean? That was like the coolest fucking thing in their entire life. And I don't think we can get that back because we've already seen it.
There's one way to get that back.
Hmm.
You plant some reefer.
Ah.
You're
All
always
jokes
excited.
aside,
Hmm.
actually, I do get it back when I drink a lot.
Hmm.
Because it's like the more drunk I am, the more excited I am about dumb shit.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's why people who smoke a lot too, same thing. Like they'll smoke and watch a movie and go, "That movie was so cool," and then I'll watch it sober and be like, "That movie sucked."
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, you a kid. I'm not gonna say kids are like actually they are. They're like little drunk people.
Right?
So they're
And I
not
want,
fully coordinated.
right? Everything's super happy. They love everyone. They meet a new person. Hey, best friend.
Right.
I do. I wonder if that is what leads to alcoholism in men, though, especially like just wanting to be a kid again. You know, wanting to just like have fun and let your emotions out and just be excited about shit again.
Maybe,
Something.
yeah.
There's something there. I have to imagine anyway. Um, because I do notice, it definitely helps. I think caffeine is a similar one too. A lot of the shit that adults are addicted to. If you look at caffeine, you can drink that shit and be like, "Wow, I'm gonna go do stuff and go outside and everything's so cool." You want to go
I think
places or
hobbies. I was because I do get excited every time like a brand new magic card, like mechanically unique magic card comes out that I'm excited for.
right,
I get like super excited and I build a deck around it immediately. Uh,
right. I think it's because I think it has to be a novel experience. Which is why, for example, like I noticed that my love for video games dies, and they always say like, "Oh, you just don't like games because you're an adult. Games are for kids." It's like, well, no, but I've played so many. You know what I mean? I've seen it all damn near. So when I see a new game that I swear to God is just copy and pasted from the God of War engine, and it has like similar menus, similar attack patterns, or it's another fucking Dark Souls clone, I'm just not excited. I'm like, oh, cool. This fucking sucks and it's not fun. And then there's a whole discussion behind game development and like blah 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 and companies, and I'm gonna go into all that. But I do wonder when something new comes out that actually feels exciting or new. I'm like over the moon. I'm like, oh shit, it's like being a little kid again. I want to play all night and stay up late and blah 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 and skip work. So
right.
I wonder if it's like I call it the backyard syndrome. When you're a little kid and you go in your backyard, it's fucking huge, and you dig holes and shit or play in the fucking tree or whatever you have back there. And then you go into like the street, maybe your neighbor's backyard, or then you go to the park. Then from the park you go like 2 blocks away or whatever, and then the world progressively gets bigger and bigger. So then like if you go in the backyard and play as an adult, it's like what am I gonna do back here? There's nothing new. I've already seen all this shit. It's not fun no more. So it's like, there's a weird thing that we have where it's like exposure to things makes them less good. Like when you listen to a song 10 times, and then it's
This
like,
is a little off topic, but I think at that point you become a creator. When you're an adult, you create things to create joy for yourself.
I can see that. And if you
That's why
don't,
a lot of men become craftsmen and they start pick up a some kind of skill that they can use to build things or make things.
right? Because every time you
Or
make
be
something new,
yeah,
it's novel, isn't it?
yeah, whether it's smithing or like we sure you're learning. Learning is novel, but it's mostly in your brain, right? So well, I mean, you're also physically doing things with your hands, but whether it's like becoming a smith and learning how to make different types of swords or trying to make your own type of sword or fucking learning plumbing and fixing stuff around the house, making it more efficient, or uh, being learning like woodcrafts and stuff, and making your own furniture and chairs and things like that.
Right. So instead of
Uh,
looking outward when you're a kid, you always look outward for stuff, right? I'm gonna go places, do things, see things. Then once you've done, you've gone, you've seen, then you look inward and start to build outward.
yes,
Huh.
and that's why a lot of people. That's why you have kids as an adult, because then you can make stuff for your kids, and it gives them more excitement, and then you're excited, and it's like you're together, doing things together.
Huh. Interesting stuff. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of evidence I think to support that shit. Obviously, we're not scientists. We don't have like proof, but
Nah,
I think it makes sense to me anyway.
yeah.
But
Sorry, I got a PhD in bullshitting, so.
I mean, hey, it works for me. That's most of the internet, though. The amount of people who bullshit on the internet and people believe it is
No, no, no.
fact.
Everyone else has a bachelor's degree in bullshitting. I have a PhD in
Oh,
bullshit.
dang. Yours is that convincing.
Yeah.
It's the details.
It's the details.
Details. I'll never forget. For the rest of my life, every time I hear that word, it's over. Also, someone said something that and laser sights, fucking laser sights.
Fucking lasers.
I don't know who said something about whatever. They said something about a laser, and it was done. I said, "Oh God, I can't stop." Those are the good old days. But yeah, no. Let's see. Back to where we started with, like, the adults can't see them,
Mm.
and I wonder if, yeah, that's interesting to think. Right, the kids are so excited, so the spirits would be happy. Like, look, it's us. They'd say, "Wow," whereas the adults might see it and be like, "Yeah, it's a stupid cat monster," or maybe, "Yeah, yeah, do something for me. Let's, kidnap that fucker and force him to grow trees for us or whatever." Right.
Right.
So, huh. Interesting. I was about to start a whole discussion on like why adults seem to be more shitty too, but I don't think. I mean, hey, we could go there. This movie's almost over anyway. There's nothing to talk about. We'll
What
just like
about the mom getting sick and the kids running away trying to get to her and
they ran. They found him. She's found. She's healthy. I got nothing for you. I don't.
I'm sorry, this movie was really
But
I don't want to pull too much artsy fartsy shit, but yeah, this movie just basically embodies like the innocence of childhood and just like and them having to deal with like what moving. They moved in the beginning of the movie, had to learn their new environments and stuff.
right.
Uh,
Maybe that was the whole point. That's why I wonder if it was a children's movie specifically. Like that's kind of what he had in mind is that kids can watch this, and if they're going through a time where they're moving, for example, they can say, look at all the fun stuff. You're gonna like it here. You're gonna make friends." Because one of the first things and like one of the scenes in the beginning was, "Hey, you already made a friend? Yeah, that's my friend. She's gonna walk with me to school." And then the neighbor, right? The granny was super nice. The entire town was helping look for them, and they just moved
right,
in like 2 days ago.
right,
So it kind of, but then there was also the dude who was like on the motorcycle. "Yeah, we didn't see any kid, but good luck." And then it kind of shows like, well, not everyone's going to be your best friend, but
right.
there are some people who are going to be, and moving isn't so bad. And then whatever else might be going on. So I wonder if that was a bigger part too of like a message of helping kids with a move. Very niche, a very specific uh thing.
Yeah.
It's almost children's book like, right? Like if you would have like I used to read one as a little baby or a little kid, and you would like they're called critters. They
Okay,
were
use a
like
little baby.
little fuzzball people,
Yeah.
and it was always like something. I guess the little fuzzball critter, like the kid, would get in trouble or he would do something, and there was just each one was a different lesson, I guess, about the shit that kids normally do. But they were short children's books. I wonder if there's a market for movies that are short children's books, but they're movies like this. Like how do kids deal with a move? How do how would you deal with?
They have Disney shorts that are kind of like that.
Do they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I think it definitely I mean, it deserves the place, right? Just don't make it super cheesy. I think that's the problem. A lot of kids' media is so shitty and cheesy, adults don't want to watch.
True.
And a lot of it's not very well made either, because they don't really personify, I think, true childlike emotions. Because kids aren't dumb. Like, especially by the time these kids are what? She's like 7, maybe. The other one's 4 or 5. 4.
That was like
Um,
4. Yeah.
but they're not dumb. They understand, like, by this point, they understand, like, passive aggressive shit. They understand, like, not all about it, but mainly, the most important bits about adult moods and how they act and blah, blah, blah. They know things. But kids' media is always like, look at this, kids, happy-go-lucky, wowzers, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And
Can't
it's like,
stand that shit.
nah. Kids know, like, when adults do some, like, slick shit and, like,
Those
talk shit about
PBS shows. Oh my god.
them. Which ones?
PBS shows.
Right. I did like Arthur, though. It was pretty good.
I don't remember Arthur. Which one's Arthur?
Arthur was not bad. It had some more different
The
stuff.
kid with the glasses, and he's got the sister.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I remember Arthur. Never mind.
Word Girl was fun.
I don't remember that one at all.
There's a couple of them, but you're right though. A lot
The
of them were.
Boomafoo.
The Boomafoo was
Blues
awesome because they showed like nature stuff. But yeah, some of them definitely they're just so cheesy that like, even little kids aren't necessarily going to be able to enjoy them by the time they're 5 or 6. And if they do enjoy them, it's a little disingenuous. I feel like that kid's almost too sheltered because by that point, there probably should be understanding something about social structures, about like how people work, about people's moods, about social interactions, all that shit, life. hardship, because kids even at that point are going to have hardships. They're going to have something like a move, going to a new school or whatever, like all that shit. But yeah, it'd be cool. I wonder if I can't draw like that, but I wonder if I could I could write children's movies, write some scripts up for things that children would find, not traumatic but difficult, right?
I gotta interject my George R. Martin moment for this episode.
Oh yeah,
He wrote a kid's book called the Ice Dragon.
kids don't like dragons. Everyone knows that.
Pretty good. Well, it's about a little girl named Adara, and she's like she was born with the cold. She was born in like one of the coldest winters, so she's like a ice girl, and no one likes her because she's quiet and she's weird.
Hey, Yukina.
and, she likes the cold, so whenever the winter comes, there's an ice dragon that comes, and she befriends an ice dragon.
Aw, the cold never bothered her anyway.
Exactly. It was made before Frozen. Shut up.
I know.
but but it reminds me of like a Ghibli movie. If it was ever animated, it'd be like a Ghibli movie. It's even like got like not gore, but it's violent. Like it's more violent than a kid's book should be.
Right.
I mean, it's George Martin. What do you expect?
Right.
Man loves his violence.
I mean, hey, it works. I think if you have something, it's kind of the whole. We talked about it before. I think it's important. The not quite catharsis, but sort of the feeling emotions through film to help you regulate them.
Right.
So violence is an important one, especially for young people or children. I don't know. You don't want to necessarily expose them to an overabundance of it.
Oh yeah. No.
But understanding that people will fight, like someone may fight near you.
Well,
or
even showing them violence on a screen can like I all the like anti-war or anti-violence people hate when there's violence shown on screen, but whenever you effectively draw it or show it in even an animated form, especially if it's violence towards characters that you empathize, it makes you realize, wait a minute, violence is bad. I don't want to do that. So,
right. It reminds me, actually, me and my nephew were watching One Piece. I think he was 4 at the time.
Yeah.
4 or maybe 5, but I want to say he was 4. We were watching One Piece, and it what do you call it? Luffy was fighting somebody or whatever. He wasn't even fighting. I think he just said something about like going to take care of his friends or something. And little man hops up off the couch and said, "Yeah, better take care of my friends," and like starts punching the air. And I was like, that's just adorable. But it kind of shows like violence in almost a good way. Not that he wants to beat people up, but it showed, hey, these guys are beating these people up. Well, you got to fight back. You know what I mean? It was like sometimes you have to fight for good reasons. But he was able to kind of, even at like 4 years old, was processing like information of like, oh, these are good guys, these are bad guys. If he fights them, that's because they're going to hurt his friends, and that's not cool, right?
Right.
So it's like you learn kind of shit like that even at a young age. And I don't know, I think it's good in a way, but it has to be well thought out. I think some things like a lot of parents, I think we're seeing stuff like Power Rangers and shit when we were growing up. I don't think Power Rangers is thoughtful violence.
No, it's just violence.
It's just, hey, go out there and punch stuff. Yeah.
I mean, kind of. It tries to teach, hey, we're defending our community, right?
Right.
Which is because the putties are attacking people, and then they're stopping the putties. But
right, it becomes, I guess, null or not null, but like
right,
it
becomes really
desensitized.
Yeah. You become very desensitized because they just do it so often.
Right, and it's every episode, so it's just like, oh yeah, those dudes are here. Let's go fight now.
Right.
So the message kind of gets lost when it becomes something like that contiguous.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's the kind of stuff that, they were seeing. Same thing for like Dragon Ball though. Unless you watched it, you wouldn't realize, a lot of the messages that were behind it. Like you wouldn't have seen all the bullshit that Goku went through with fucking Frieza and Vegeta's bitch ass and all the Ginyu Force and everything.
They didn't even go to Namek to fight Frieza. They were there to get the Dragon Balls to revive their friends. Frieza happened to be there genociding the Namekians, trying to steal the ball so they can get immortality.
Right.
So,
and when you get introduced to that, it's like, what the fuck? And you see all the fights, and this is just teaching kids to be violent. It's like, maybe in a way, because it did make me want to like you know, be violent, but not violent. I wanted to like work out and be strong like Goku essentially. So it's
Right.
not really violent. It's just strong. And if you see even at the very end, he spares Frieza after all that.
Right. He spared even the Ginyu Force. Fucking Vegeta killed them all.
So it's like, yeah, if you look at this kind of stuff, it all of it. I think that's dude,
Except for
we've
Ginyu.
always this is almost like a just let's just brag about Eastern media, but shit, so much of it, it's just so well thought out that we don't get exposed to stuff like that. If you look at like
I think
wrestling,
it's more so a case of like Eastern media that's really good and popular comes over here. Um, there's a lot that's just left in the trash, doesn't get translated, doesn't come over here or anything like that. But over here, it's so hard to sift through the garbage and the nonsense. Even the garbage gets so popular in the States for some reason, just because of who's working on it and who does it. Um,
yeah, I could see that, but also our palate is much less refined. So as long as
mhm.
it's got tits, ass, guns, action, explosions, there's a few boxes you have to check, and that was like a lot of media, especially like the '80s and shit. It just worked, but it's interesting. But we've already talked about this in different episodes, sort of the how media
Yeah,
evolved in the West, and we won't dive too much into that. But
there is a lot of shit in the East that is pretty bad though, that just never comes over here. Uh,
right,
so,
yeah, if I haven't seen it, I wouldn't know, right? So, but
exactly.
so
Like,
yeah, I
how many
guess
foreign films have you seen from like Europe? Uh,
I don't watch a lot of European media actually. I don't know where to find
exactly.
it. I don't. I guess I've never looked for it.
The
So
only
it's
ones that like blow up are ones that are like, or the only ones, yeah, I would say the only ones that we see are the ones that are super popular. Like Slumdog Millionaire is it's a British movie. Uh,
mm,
even though it's about India, but it's a British movie.
right. I mean, they made James Bond, right?
No, I think we made James Bond.
Oh, I thought
Pretty
it
sure
was
it's
like.
made in Hollywood,
Oh, dang, I thought the
a
original was
Hollywood
like
production.
British guy.
Nah,
Huh.
I
Maybe
think it's
we.
based off James Bond books, if that's a thing.
Oh, maybe. Let's look it up. Shit, we got the internet. Let me check.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm just thinking how to.
That's the beauty of the internet, dude. You can learn so much shit.
Uh, Not Ukraine, you bastard. There you go. Yeah, it's based on. Wait, what? Yeah, a book by a
Oh,
British guy.
oh, cool. I mean, that's something. I got.
But the first movie, 1954? No, that's a TV show. Uh, List of films. 1962. I mean, I guess it's still Western media, isn't it? Even European movies are Western media.
Yeah,
They're
they're
considered the
similar,
West.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about like
But yeah, this one was
specific
made
countries, but
in the United States. There you go. Huh?
huh.
No? No. Hold on.
Uh oh.
Uh-oh. It was released in the UK first. Yep. I'm pretty sure it was made by in the UK because the budget is in pounds.
Gotcha.
Sean Connery. There you go.
Hey, Sean Connery, the fucking legend.
Sir Sean Connery. Is he not? Yeah, yeah, he is.
Yeah, 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 100%.
He got knighted.
But think about that, right? That's like a huge one, right? In the West and even in, I guess, Europe too. But what do you learn from James Bond? Like, what could you show a child that they could take out of that?
Uh, Love for your country.
I guess, yeah. Because I'm thinking about even the stuff we've covered, right? All the,
Being a badass, get the girl.
right? Because, yeah, look
It's a
at,
fantasy. It's a power fantasy, but it's for like being suave and cool and uh uh a badass. Uh, he's not a spy, is he? What is like?
he's a spy, yeah.
Eh, yeah, he's a government agent. Uh,
But that seems to be a lot of our stuff, even going all the way back to like Clint Eastwood, right?
Yeah,
It's just
but
like
I
that's
mean,
kind of our movie. That was always our most successful movies was those.
yeah. I mean, Tony Stark is that, right?
Technically, yeah.
Yeah. He's a businessman. My bad. Businessman with a newly found conscience.
Right. I think he's deeper than that, but you're right though. He's not something you'd show to children. He's more of a gritty, relatable to adults kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like how do you deal with alcoholism, for example? Well, kids don't deal with that, so they can't gain
They
anything
didn't.
from
They
that.
didn't do that for the movie, man. They wanted to for the second movie. I heard that was supposed to be the second movie was supposed to be him dealing with his alcoholism, but but it was after Disney bought them, and they didn't want to portray
Oh,
that. I was like, what do you mean?
right. If you're gonna buy it, keep it. It's not Disney. It's Marvel. It's not like Lion King and Tony Stark are hanging out.
Right.
But we'll see in the future. I think they've done some stuff that seems pretty mature, so I think they're
Uh,
loosened up a bit,
Deadpool 3 is gonna be rated R still, so we'll see.
right? Um, but yeah, it's just interesting to see like sense. I don't, but we didn't not have those sensibilities. I think it was just in TV shows maybe. Because look at shit like Little House on the Prairie, right?
Yeah.
That shit was popular as fuck. Or the Brady Bunch, right? Some of these old ones.
Right.
These fuckers are
Full
huge.
House.
Yeah, Full House. They were like some of the biggest shows. Or Golden Girls even, and a lot of them. Well, Golden Girls is more of a scandalous fucking show, so that's not really for kids. But a lot of them, the other ones anyway, had family values and wholesome shit. So I wonder if like that type of storytelling was relegated to TV and not for film, like for movies. And if so, I wonder why. Maybe they didn't think that you could get people engaged in an hour and a half.
Hmm.
Like we can't have somebody really be engaged and actually relate to characters. Maybe the writing, like Western writers, weren't that strong or confident that they could do it in an hour and a half, or maybe it was the producers. Um, they were like, no, fuck that. We're not gonna have you do this, blah blah. And it was also
There's a couple of the movie. There's a couple of Western movies that like show like mundane or just a happy life, but
like old shit,
like what?
like older shit.
Uh, some artsy fartsy movies.
Because I'm looking
Uh,
more, I guess, about the way it came about.
yeah.
And I thought
I
of
can't really
something,
speak to them because I've never watched them, but I was like looking at it now because again, it's not my shit. So
right?
I saw a movie that looked like it was that, and I was like, I'm not watching that.
Right. I thought about something interesting just now, though, is that, and it actually happens in modern. We've talked about it before, and with modern shit, how like people assume, like the producers and stuff assume that, oh well, men have the buying power, and you got to get the man to be interested, so he takes his family with him, and shit like that. And obviously, that was going to be more the case fucking 70 years ago, or however long ago, 2, 3, 25, yeah, some 50 years ago, something like that. So I wonder if that's why not all, but where it seems to be a trend where movies were very like tailored to American men sensibilities, but
Yeah,
TV shows that aired during the day while men were at work had a lot of other sensibilities. It seems like
maybe.
because I think the men are going to be at work, so they're not going to watch. So the women can have more, and women and children, for example, can have more things. And look at how popular the shows we're talking about were family shows. Um, so I wonder if there was something there to that they because shit, a long time ago, women couldn't even have like credit or fucking half the shit. So they definitely weren't buying tickets to movies. And if they were going to convince their husband to go to a movie, it was going to be unlikely, at least given the culture at that time, that they would go see like a romance movie.
There's plenty of romance movies though.
Was it?
That's
I don't
never,
remember.
yeah, there's a lot of romance movies that come out.
Titanic, I guess. That's newer. That's modern. More modern. I'm thinking like 60s, 70s ish.
60s probably not so much, but I don't know. When was the boom of like all the those fucking high school comedy, those high school romance movies with what's her face? That's the 70s, I think. Can't remember her name anymore.
What's she play in?
16 Candles and all that.
Let me check.
That's 84. I guess that's the 80s.
Definitely, there was a lot of progression in the 80s.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that's where like this Western style came from, as far as terms of movies.
Yeah.
Because we all know that the market follows what's popular,
Uh-huh.
so they're not going to branch out very much. And I feel like back in the day, the only thing that was going to get you money was those type of films until like we started seeing a lot more, progression in media. But it's interesting to think about that kind of stuff. Because we found out it's a similar topic we discussed in a couple episodes back, but I think we've learned something different now about like the last time we focused on what American movies were like back in the day. Now we can kind of see the television seemed to have a totally different landscape. But anyway, not a scientist, not a doctor, not a movie or TV
Not a
historian.
movie.
Sorry, I had like a little hiccup. But yeah, I'm not a movie or TV historian, but there's stuff here. So if anyone else actually has more information, leave a little comment or something. Not just people always say that to be desperate to get engagement, but genuinely, I imagine some of you guys, if you're listening to us, are of similar minds. So you're probably smart or know more stuff than we do. So it'd be cool to hear more information. But that's kind of all I got.
70s
Back
movies
to
are very progressive. They're like I'm looking at the top 100 70s movies. They're all very progressive or like I think the other word I was but
just not action.
yeah. There's some actions in here. Deer
Right.
Hunter, Get Carter. Never seen this movie. Life of Brian. What is this? I've heard people to quote Life of Brian all the time. It's a Monty Python. Oh, okay.
Comedy. We
Yeah.
didn't bring up comedy at all. That's probably the second best American style film,
Yeah.
right behind action. I forgot about comedies.
Badlands. Phantom of. Look at Phantom of the Opera. Like, what is this? Alternate universe. Phantom of the Opera myth would be Rocky Horror Picture Show level of midnight. It just looks like a fucking horror. Oh, what's that? Scary movie. Like it spoofs a bunch of famous movies. That's funny. American Graffiti. Oh man, I fucking forgot about this movie. Yeah, a lot of serious movies too. Is it comedies or just super serious movies?
Right, which makes sense. That appeals to like the
Oh
male
yeah.
shit.
Old School Dawn of the Dead came out, or they colorized it. I think that for Old School one it came out in the '60s. Oh no, I'm thinking of Night of the Living Dead. That's Dawn of the Dead. That's it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I forgot about the era where it was all the like the detective shit. It was like the Maltese Falcon days.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one. I didn't even bring that one up because that was even pre that. But I don't know, right? I don't know a lot of the other Casablanca and shit. I know the big names of that era,
Oof.
but
Man,
I don't know.
I like my boring movies, but god damn.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched them. I can respect what they did with the filmography. It was pretty good, but I didn't find myself super engaged with those.
You got anything else about this movie? I'm pretty much tapped out.
No, I'm good. I think I didn't have much to even start with. We ended up, having some good discussion on things related to themes from the movie, so I think that worked out pretty good. But a lot of my notes here are just, the little shit that makes
Anything
Ghibli
happen with
movies
the kid who had the crush on the girl?
No, he wasn't important. He didn't do anything for the movie at all except give her the umbrella one time. But no,
True.
that's important though, because we did talk about, for example, this movie being for children who are moving to a new place, and like shit like that. So definitely, I think that that's something that's going to happen, right? You're going to get, if you're like a young girl, get made fun of by boys. If you're a young boy, get made fun of by girls or whatever. That's how kids do. And then maybe develop relationships or something. But in the beginning, it's going to be like different, right? Weird. So it kind of showed subtly that, hey, you and this kid don't get along, but eventually you will once you get to know each other. And eventually he became super trustworthy and was like going to take her to the hospital and everything. So
Yeah.
he is important, I guess. He's important for the message, but I guess the message was very small. And it doesn't relate to us. Like, we're not kids going to a new school. So a lot of it's not going to hit as hard. But you're right though. That's a good note. But the rest of my notes are just cool Ghibli stuff, like that stupid ass umbrella leaf that he had. Why?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. But I
You
loved
didn't
it.
like it?
No, I loved it. Like, but
Uh,
it just looks so stupid. I'm like, what? That's leaf's not. It's not even keeping you dry, you little shit. But I mean, he was happy, and then he got the regular umbrella and shit.
yeah.
So little stuff like that, yeah. Just like adorable little stuff. But good movie. I think I'd give it a solid 6.5.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 5.5.
Because I'd watch it again. It's charming. It's nice. Like it's
I'd put it on in the background while I'm doing stuff, so maybe I'll give it a 6.
because it didn't do anything wrong. Like I can't think of anything
Right.
it did wrong particularly.
Yeah. I give it a
Like
6. I was about to give it a 6.5 because I was thinking, I was like, nah, I'll give it a 6. I
that
like it.
seems about
I like-
right.
Yeah, I like it though. It's good.
Because
Next
it
is gonna
wasn't
be your
like
favorite though.
this is a weird category of movie because for most of the time my rating system is well they didn't do anything wrong so it's close to a perfect movie. But in this case I feel different about it because I'm like it did nothing wrong. It was perfect for what it tried to do, but what it tried to do wasn't necessarily I don't know exciting, right? I wasn't like gripped in any way. So even though there was nothing bad or wrong with it, it wasn't over the top or made me excited in any way. A couple of times were exciting. I did like laugh a couple times. It did get pretty sad. I felt super sad. Like the older I get, the more sad I get about stupid children.
Right.
Like she was like crying or something whenever she said something like she yelled at her sister and she ran off, and then the little sister starts crying.
Yeah, she was
I was like
getting mad at that their mom was gonna stay in the hospital a little bit longer.
right. That shit was just so sad. Cause then I felt so bad for the kid too. Cause I'm like, dude. Cause she was like, yeah, she's just so mean. And then truly, that's how she feels. Because if you look at it, anyone on the outside, like her sister, might think, well, you're just yelling and complaining. It's like, but all she was essentially doing in her mind was wanting her mom to come home, and then she got yelled at for it.
Yeah.
So it's like just looking at some of the character traits that children have that I couldn't appreciate younger me.
Yeah.
It's just it definitely hits a little bit more. So,
Okay, I still hated that child.
Bros, you can't. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 7.
She said she explained to her calmly why she couldn't, and then she rudely fucking interjected and told her no.
That poor baby. She's missed her mom.
And her sister was telling her why she can't be there, and then she didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, she doesn't want to hear it. Tell her what
That
she
poor
wants to
baby
hear.
needs to be thrown, smacked around,
No,
shoved in an oven.
shoved in a oven. You gotta beat the manners into him sometimes.
Maybe she can play with her little soot friends in the chimney.
Hey, you know it's fucked up. They used to use kids as chimney sweeps.
Yeah, because they're small.
It's so fucked up. Them poor babies breathing that shit in.
Yeah, those fuckers didn't need to live that long.
Oof, that's tough, man. But I'm giving it a
I
7.
mean, shit, people used to have kids just for that purpose. Hey, I got a little free worker right here.
It's true though. Back in the day, yeah, that was your workforce. Not
Main
only was it
reason
a
you had a
workforce,
bunch of kids.
because you think how cheap it is, right? Because
All you
you're
gotta do
already-
is feed them and
Right.
clothe them.
that's it. You feed him, you don't have to give him that good.
And you have
clothes.
multiple kids, you just pass down the older one's clothes when he grows out of it.
Right. So really, you're truly spending. I don't know how much vegetables might cost, especially if you have your own garden back in the day. They're free. You know what I mean? Essentially, it's literally free labor, assuming you already have a garden at the house.
Right.
So yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. But nowadays, it's definitely not like that. Which is interesting to think. Like people used to have these huge families. We can't do it anymore. It's too expensive because kids can't pay for themselves because we don't do things for ourselves, right?
Right.
We used to have a well, and you got the water from the well, so the kids could pump the water and pay for themselves. They could plant some seeds. They could put the clothes outside and do stuff. There was always ways that they could contribute to the family income, because
Right.
usually your family income was also tied to wherever the fuck you lived, unless you had like
Right.
a job outside the town or something. But yeah, we can't do it no more. We don't make our own vegetables. We don't, do our own stuff. We don't pump our own water. We don't do anything. We're not self-sufficient, essentially. So having more people doesn't add to any of the home workforce,
Right.
which sucks. That's why people don't have kids anymore, I think. And not only, obviously, there's many, many factors for that.
Right.
But I do think, I wonder if that's the life. You know, when I was watching this, I really did think for a couple times, like, man, I wonder how great that life would be.
Fuck that noise. I don't want to be in the field picking shit.
I mean, maybe you don't pick shit. Maybe you just work down at
I did. I
whatever.
always said my dad. They used to. My parents used to have a lunch wagon,
Hmm.
and we'd go to all the different. I'm not gonna call them plantations. What do you call them? Fields. There you go. Fruit fields, and sell tacos. Sell the how do I say this?
Prisoners with jobs.
No. The immigrants,
He
the
said,
paperless immigrants.
he said, I hate that word.
I'm sorry. The prisoners with jobs. Better.
That shit was so stupid.
The slaves. I don't like that word. Sorry, the prisoners with jobs. We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Right?
But
But yeah,
no,
there's
that was cool. Go with my dad and tell everybody what the prices were for all the snacks and crap.
right? And that's just kind of what you do, right? You know, you whatever, you know, you go meet people, do stuff, go back home. It's kind of nice. There's a sense
I'm
of
buying me a
community
lunch
there.
wagon.
Huh?
I'm gonna buy me a lunch wagon.
You could. That'd be cool. I mean, shit, food trucks are fucking money makers because they're so low income, like low upkeep cost.
Yeah.
You could spend, I think, 20 grand to get a food truck. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but get that shit a startup, make money.
Hmm.
But yeah, I did. I was a little envious of that life because it's almost in a way you don't have a job as long as you're like taking care of yourself. Your job is to survive,
Right.
which is kind of nice. But I wonder how fast it gets tiring. You know what I mean? Because everyone
I
who
mean, they
still
work from sun up to sun down.
right, and everyone who's still not everyone, but like a lot of people who live like that said fuck this and moved to cities and got regular jobs. So I have to imagine if so many people were like not wanting to do that, it must not have been that good.
Right.
But it does seem nice in a way. Because, I don't know. I think
You
there's
get
just.
structure.
It's the community,
You
right?
do need structure, but like that. Not gonna say it was good structure, but structure is still good.
Right.
They're
And
doing backbreaking work as children.
yeah, not all of them, right? Some of them they kept with like the easier jobs, right? Like
Maybe
you'd send them to the store to get groceries, you know, whatever. Like come clean this thing, clean the house, go
groceries.
outside.
They grew their own groceries.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess if they didn't have what you wanted in the backyard, like if you didn't have any bread, you might go for bread.
Go
If
make
all
your
you
own
had
bread.
was like tomatoes and cucumbers.
True. Yeah.
But it was
You
cool.
say
You would
tomatoes
share
and
with your
cucumbers.
neighbors.
You just say tomatoes and cucumbers.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody grew everything, right?
No. I said that they would just eat tomatoes and cucumbers. That's what they do.
Oh no, I figure you're gonna go trade with people, right? Like your neighbor has corn,
Yeah. Chuck over there across the street, he grows tomatoes. This guy
right?
over here makes bread. He grows wheat.
Yeah, it seems kind of cool. Just living. I think it seems so less stressful, right? I think that's like the biggest appeal to it.
Mhm.
Because you have a lot more workload, right? Like your actual physical workload may be higher, but it almost seems like there's no stress at all. Like you just go places and do stuff. You wake up, go outside, maybe look at your crops, water them. You don't do anything else after they're planted. You just water them. Then what do? Fucking chill.
Yes.
You know, work on stuff around the house. Like I don't know. If you had like a regular job, is like I don't know. Maybe you worked at a fucking restaurant or something. Maybe there's like the one restaurant in town, but I don't know. It definitely seems like it'd be a low stress life. But then I guess the stress comes when you're starving to death because your crops didn't come in.
Right. Or there was an outbreak in one of the farms.
Right. So nothing's perfect, I guess, but that's kind of the story of like everything, isn't it? The story of life.
Yeah.
But cool.
No,
Yeah, I
we need to
guess.
get that Wally life where we're all just floating around.
Don't
Big
you
fat
dare. Fuck that shit. You know what
It'd
the
be
funny part about
perfect.
that movie is, though? Realistically, if we had the technology to do all those things, we wouldn't be fat. Because we would have, like, perfect synthesized shit that was injected to us or whatever. and you wouldn't
But
eat
the
food.
flavor, Trey. The flavor. You gotta have the delicious smoothies.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not impossible, but I think in general, if you look at like the way the technology would advance, it's just more efficient and smart, especially on like a space station like that. You give
Yeah.
them their like food injections or their food whatevers, and that sustains their life with the
You really
optimal.
gonna convince a fat guy to give up ice cream?
They wouldn't be fat. That's what I'm saying. This would all be from they wouldn't have evolved in that direction because the people from birth would be used to this nutritional intake.
But then you have to steal the kids from the fat
You know, there's no fat people
people
in
who
this
feed their kids
scenario.
ice cream.
There's no ice cream.
There had to be fat people at some point.
No. You think of it like this, right?
So we culled all the fat people. We killed them all.
No, they're just left on Earth.
Okay, so they're left to die.
Not like that, but in a way, I think if you don't adapt or I don't. You would have no choice, right? If technology was leading itself into a direction where everything was optimized and nutritional intake was like regulated of like whatever the fuck I'm thinking of, some fantasy shit.
Yeah.
I don't think you wouldn't be able to be fat because there wouldn't even fat people at that point would no longer be that way because there would be no more food.
But when the technology first arrives, they're like, you don't think of people who are like, nah, I don't want that. I want to just keep eating my ice cream.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I'm not doing that. Shit. I've been gaining weight, but
I like the taste of my pizza, damn it.
right. I had a whole fucking 50 count of pizza rolls last night. Well, I didn't eat the whole 50 count. I cooked all the 50 count, and I had some for this morning. I think I had like 30, and I saved like 20 for this morning.
Man, I start eating. I'm like, I'm only gonna eat 20, and then I fucking eat the rest.
Because it comes in like if you buy them in the little bag. I said, fuck it. You can't seal the bag. Just cook the whole bag.
We're getting off topic.
But yeah, no, you're right though. So for a lot of people, they wouldn't adopt it early. But I think at some point in that level of society, I don't know what the fuck, thousands of years in the future it was. I definitely don't think it would have went in that direction anyway. But you never know. I also don't think we'd go in the direction of idiocracy, but there's some times I'm like, I don't know.
We're there.
There's definitely moments in like actual history.
Keely, I just watched it. I showed it to Keely.
Oof.
Have you seen Terry Crews do it? He redid his skit from Idiocracy, his presidential campaign. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
the
see
2024 campaign for Camacho.
Bro.
That's what made me want to go watch it again.
That's funny. So yeah, I don't know. Anything is possible, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's beneficial to, the community or somebody makes money off it or whatever, it'll happen, right?
Yeah.
But we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a 7. And what'd you land on?
I landed on 6.
Okay. Sounds about right. We're usually about 1 point apart.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty par for the course. And what's next?
We told them to like, subscribe, do all the things.
No, the next series or the next shits.
It's the same series. It's the Ghibli movie.
The next shit's in the series.
Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh God.
It's your favorite.
I watched that one recently, like within 5 years, and that shit definitely was boring. But we'll see though. We'll see.
To be fair, this is a adaptation of a novel, so it's not out of Hayao Miyazaki's mind itself.
Maybe that's why. That's good to know though, so I can keep that in mind of like if I give it whatever, because it definitely doesn't have a lot of his themes anyway.
Yeah.
I guess we'll get there, but like and subscribe because engagement is good.
Leave an angry comment or a thumbs down because engagement is good.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.